even change. Between the test and the regular broadcast. Do you see it at all?
It's spinning. It says past due, and I hit publish, and it's spinning. And it's just spinning. I wonder if I needed to do it with the live event thing. Okay, published.
Okay.
Let's see what happens now.
Okay. We're almost there. That's the beauty of going live, you guys. Live out to the world. I can, let's see if we're up on YouTube.
I haven't seen anything either.
Nope, not yet.
Yes, yay, I found you on YouTube.
YouTube, perfect. I can see us there.
All right.
Our live. Yay, I can see you guys. I can see that some people are watching there, but I still can't see us
on Facebook.
On our Facebook.
It's interesting. I'm getting comments on the Meebo, which I've never gotten before.
Oh, so fun. Hold your horses, you guys. We're going to see if we can fix this. Oh yeah, we are getting this. It's great to see you guys, and thank you so much. Yep, it's giving us our YouTube, but it's not giving us.
No.
So you guys, I'm sorry. We're going to keep the same stream on, so we may go back. But I'm going to try and catch the Facebook stream. That Facebook always giving us problems. Hang on, you guys. I'll be right back.
Right, so we should be live.
All right, you guys, we're back. I think we should pick up right where we left off. I'm hopeful. Let's see if we can make all this happen and then get into what we're here for, which is learning. But we're waiting for our Facebook stream to go up.
Oh, you're not buffering anymore on
I'm
YouTube.
not buffering on YouTube, so I'm on, which is great. So I see all of you guys, but I'm waiting for the go live on Facebook. And I might do this. So thanks, you guys, for hanging with us here.
Yeah, I'm just not finding Facebook.
No, Facebook, it's not. I'm going to try a new. I'm going to try a new one. So, let's see. Connect, go live. No. Maybe. I'm going to check that. Thanks, you guys, for sticking with us. As you know, you can see that, let me see if I can see our RTMP. No, I don't see it here. You guys, we're going to pause YouTube one more time. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I'm sorry we're having these technical difficulties, but Brandon and I are going to fix it. So hang on. Yes, you're looking at the IT department. It's me.
It really is.
I can IT and I can Bullion, and I'm going to be right back, you guys. So hang on. I hope. Let's see how it goes. Should be up shortly. Let's see how we're looking. Oh, there's my go live button. Brandon,
we did it?
I think we've done it, everyone. So when Drea does the episode notes, she's going to have to say the third time's a charm. I think we've done it, you guys.
Yay!
Hooray. Not bad. Well, it's great to have you guys here, and thank you so much for sticking with us while we had just a little bit of an update hiccup. You know, that's always good times when you're between the time you do a test and you do the broadcast that things change. So let's get this.
I think I've got everything. I think I
Let's
found
get this
scrub
show.
laces.
Let's do it. Let's get this show
All
on
right.
the road. Let me make sure that I can see everybody here, and that you guys can all see me. Thank you again, you guys, for being so patient for this, for our broadcast. So I've got it. So, all right. IT department done, and
As
here
usual,
we are.
kids on top of it.
Here we are. All right. Hey, everybody, it's Wednesday. And as someone said in the comments over on YouTube, that this is going to be kind of an important broadcast, which I agree. It's going to be really kind of an important one. You know, our French wire and our bullion, or French wire and bullion, kind of is the both of the names for this. What we call it here at Bead Shop is we call it French wire, and our silk on the needle, which we've got here. These two are kind of bead shop staples from way, way back. And I learned how to use this bullion and this silk from Janice, right? And so I think it's, you know, it's a really old school way of stringing your pieces. Now, if you, maybe you're looking through, you have some vintage pieces. Maybe you have some old crystal, crystal beads that you've had strung up from your grandmother, say, or, you know, I know you guys have those graduated pearl necklaces, right? Remember those that have the big pearls in the center and graduate out, right? Those, all of those have been strung using really old school methods. And Janice had been making jewelry really since her teen years with her mom and her antique store. And I had been looking at jewelry. My grand had such a vast vintage jewelry collection that I was always looking at things and trying to not cut them apart and redo them and stuff. So I really, really enjoy sharing kind of this old school technique with you. And I think this is going to be a tried and true method that maybe you don't use every day, but if you are into jewelry repair, if you repair jewelry, which there's always need for a great beaded jewelry repairer, hang a little shingle outside, you guys, wherever you live, in whatever city you live, because it's great. You'll get a lot of people coming for you. For repairs. Or if you just like the look and feel of vintage jewelry, this is also a good one. You know that Janice and I both have a great love of vintage. And so there was a really great question from Gina over on our YouTube feed that says, I'm kind of new to beading, so is this just a tutorial for more of the advanced beader? And I would say to you, Gina, no, it actually will encompass the beginning beader as well as the more advanced beader, because the technique that we're doing today is simple, but maybe one that's not oft taught, really. So this is good for the kind of your, it'll hit the whole spectrum. So I'm going to say good morning, afternoon, and evening. I'm Kate Richburg in front of the camera here at beadshop.com. I've got Brandwin right over there with her camera and her screens, and the camera over here and her hand camera. We've got it all. So we've got Gita, who is moderating over on our YouTube feed. I'm sorry, on our Facebook feed, and Janice over here on our YouTube feed. And let me know, you guys, we've updated the streaming key. That's what all of this frustration and everything was happening earlier. We updated our streaming key because you don't need to know this, but we stream in multiple locations. And so hopefully our YouTube stream is a little more robust, I hope. So we'll see what happens. Who knows? Our Facebook stream is a little more robust. So, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. So let's get right down to it. Since we've had a little bit of time wasted with all of this business. So Brandwin, let's turn this camera around and let's get this show on the road, okay? So it's great to share, like I was saying, this kind of cool technique with all of you guys, because it is one that's something that you don't see taught often or shared often. So, oh good, and Gita's saying the bead shop, she's on at beadshop.com on Facebook. the connection is great, so that's good. Good. Okay, great. So we'll see. You know, it's crazy that things can just change at the drop of a hat on the different live streams. We've got this funny.
Yeah.
Do you want to if you turn the light maybe a little more, Brandon? It feels a little shadowy.
I'm also going to turn up the
Oh, are
brightness.
you?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
this here. Maybe you want to, I don't know. I think is that better? That's better, maybe.
The wire, though.
Maybe. Isn't it great, you guys, being your own camera crew and the talent? There we go. I think that's actually better, Brandon. We got it out of the shot.
Okay.
There's Meredith from Beadalon. She's loving these Beadalon needles. I know you are, Meredith. It's great to see you across the miles. Oh my goodness. Someday our paths will cross again at a show. I miss seeing you so much. Okay, so I think this is better. All right, so let's take a look, you guys, at the kind of the tools and materials that we're going to be using today. So we've got, just in now at beadshop.com, we've got some new sizes of our silk with needle. We've got a size 8 here. This is our new one. That's our new thickest one. And I wanted to let you know this is our, and we got them in a whole bunch of colors, but these are our newest colors that we've added here. This, what do they call this? They call it rose or dark pink, dusty rose. And then amethyst. Do we call it amethyst? Amethyst, yeah. And we were looking at our color offerings, and we were almost shocked. We're like, wait a minute, what are we doing? We don't have these two colors, so we added them in. If you look at Emily's float necklace, it's over on our website on beadshop.com. If you go to projects and you scroll down to necklaces, you'll see that that Emily has done her silk float away necklace. It's Emily's float, the one that's in the top left-hand corner in yellow. This is a perfect, this size 8. I think she used the 6 for it before, but you can upgrade to the size 8, and it's awesome. Any of our float away necklaces that we've done, this cord is exactly what you need. Also under learning, you guys, if you go to learning on our website, beadshop.com, and you click the Stittionary and the Needlepedia. The Stittionary and the Needlepedia are two, I don't know, must-haves, I guess, for your collection of beadshop.com handouts, I guess. The Needlepedia is Janice's latest magnum opus, and it talks about all the different needles and what cords they fit on and all kinds of great stuff. And then, of course, our Stittionary talks about our all of our threads that we have, and we need to update it with our size 8, but that'll be coming shortly. So those are two very, very good resources. I know a lot of you keep a binder with all of the learning in it and stuff, so if you haven't gotten those already, go ahead and download them. So we've got our silk cords, and as I say, the silk comes in 2, 4, and 6, and our newest size 8. Now we have the French wire or the bullion here, okay? And this is, I think, what everybody's like, what the heck? What the heck is this bullion all about? And Janice and I we've done a broadcast on it, and when we first got the bullion in, we have it in these really cool colors, in these antiqued colors. It's the gray, the copper, and the vintage bronze, as well as in the silver and gold, but we have these really great colors in the medium and the fine. In the heavy, we only have them in the silver and gold. They don't have these. These were done specially for us. Janice went to our supplier and said, hey guys, we need these. And so they made them for us. in these really perfect colors that are very, very bead shop. The vintage bronze, the copper, and this gray or hematite color. Okay, so those are awesome, but in the heavy, we only have it in the silver and heavy and in the gold and the heavy. You never know. I mean, we'd love to get it, but for now, we just see them in these two colors here. So I've got some beads that I'm going to share with you, different bead sizes and stuff for the bullion. But of course, bullion traditionally is used with pearls, right? And so I've got these are just our soft gray pearls, kind of a I don't know, middle of the road, not too small, not too large, kind of pearl, perfect size. And there's a question from my mom over on YouTube. Hi, Ma. The cord does get thicker. That's correct. So if you're looking at the cords and you have here a 6, a 4, a 2, and an 8, the 2 is the thinnest, the 4, the 6, and then the 8. So the 8 is our brand new one, the one that we've just added, that's the thickest. So yeah, we hope to get this large in the antique finishes, but we'll see what happens. I also have some other beads here that Brandon just pulled off the wall for me. And you know, when you are working with the bullion wire and the silk, sometimes you have to experiment, and sometimes you have to kind of test it out. So I've also gotten just a basic, a 4, a 6, and an 8 millimeter stone here, and so we're going to look at that. So let's talk about what this French wire actually is, right? Because you're like, well, Kate, that's great. You're throwing around all of these terms. But as Gina says, what exactly is bullion wire? Well, Gina, let me tell you and everybody else here what it is, okay? So bullion, I still have a little piece of note paper that Emily left for me. Thank you, Emily, for leaving this note paper, so I have some here. What bullion wire is, okay, it's like a coil. So I'm going to draw this greatly enlarged for detail. Okay, so it's a little coil that looks like that. And the wire, it's hardly even wire. It's more like wiry thread. And you can see this is kind of opened here. So I can kind of pull it out and you can see what that looks like. It's a very, 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 very fine wire that's been coiled. And if you look on like very old like embroidery, I'm getting off the subject here a little bit, but it's why it's called bullion embroidery as well. When you have your cloth here and then you have little raised kind of fancy stitches in gold like this, you see them a lot on military coats and stuff like that. It's been embroidered with this bullion is what they use to create that. Okay, so that's why we kind of get it from, I think, that technique, that embroidery technique with bullion. So, but it's also known as French wire. So the French wire, what it does is you have a little, like a little U-shaped, a little arch of it. And your thread, when you string it, when you're closing off your piece or starting your piece, your thread goes through the bullion, then gets knotted below. Okay, and so it creates a little loop at the end of your necklace or whatever, necklace or choker or bracelet. And you will have added your clasp onto the end here. So it's kind of like a little guard for your thread, so you're not tying your thread onto the end of that clasp. So it's very similar. We have other things that do this. We have end tips that look like this, right? We've done shows on end tips. We have wire guards that are like little horseshoe shaped things, right? And we've got this bullion. Okay. Now, everybody has an opinion, right? Everyone has an opinion of which ones they like. Some people, yes, end tips, my favorite, I heart you, end tips. Some people are all wire guards, yes, or wire guards, no, I loathe you, wire guards. And people for bullion are all, what the heck is bullion, right? So, bullion by far, I think, is the most persnickety of all of the closures, but it's also the most fancy. Okay, so, and Janice also is mentioning how you can see here on the cover right here of the French wire, see how super tight and stuff that looks? We want to try and avoid that, so I'm going to show you actually how to put it on and make it look just perfect. The wire guards, I've got some here. I use wire guards actually a lot. Sometimes I use them on thread. I know that our buddy from the design team, Danielle uses them a lot with her thread and her brick stitch earrings to close. I like them. I know that some people think they look a little industrial, but I like it. I like the way it looks, especially for a nylon coated wire beading cable like Softflex or Beadalon or whatever beading cable you guys use. So I like the look of that. And they are used with crib tubes at the bottom, right, like that guy. And then a clasp or something, of course, at the top right here, okay, just like so. All right, and we have skill builders and stuff on how to do this. I've done this over and over for you guys many times, so I'm not going to go through how to actually put the wire guards on, but I just wanted to tell you they kind of do the same thing. And you could also use bullion wire on your Softflex as well, on your wire coated beading material. It works actually just fine, and I'll have Brandon grab me some a little bit later because I'll show you how that goes on there too. Okay, so the end tip, which is here, and I've got those guys here, you know my love of end tips. They come in the clamshell shape and in the little cup shape. Here's the clamshell right there, and here's the cup. And just so you know, just so that everyone's on the same page with this, there's the little cup. I want to attach that for you. Trish is asking, what gauge is the bullion wire made with to start? I couldn't even tell you. It's probably maybe a 36 gauge, 48 gauge, I don't know. It's so small. It's much finer. If any of you got our craft wire that we make needles with, it's much thinner than that. It's almost like thread. And the wire of each of the different types of bullion, whether it's, I just want to make sure this is correct before I tell you this, but let me test this out. The wire on this heavy bullion is just a little heavier than the one that's on this fine. The way it feels to me, it's so thin that it's hard to get a reading on the gauge for me, but it's very, very thin. It's almost like thread. Okay, so with this end tip here, just as a reminder for you guys, right? Remember that the end tip has a pretty big hole on the end. I know it's hard for you to see. I'm going to do it with this one. But the hole, whoops, pretty big. See how far my awl goes through that? Pretty big there. Okay. We want to tie a knot that's pretty hefty. Okay, if we were using, and this is the silk with thread. It's a size 6. You can see the needles attached. I've just uncarded it already, just like that. And one of the things that's kind of a pain that happens with this thread is that the needle can get a little looking like this, right? A little twisty. So I'm going to just straighten it out using my nylon jaw plier. Okay, not too heavy of a hand, but see how that nylon jaw kind of straightens everything out for me. Okay, so I'm going to, we also have, it's also a little bit crinkly here, a little wavy from being wound on the card. Another way that you can work with this to straighten it out is I've got my tiny little hair straightener, and see how I'm running that thread. I just turned it on so it's not super hot. But see how when you run the thread through the straightener, how it starts to straighten out like that. Of course, I've got a knot in here already. And that hair straightener trick, it's just a little travel straightener that you get from the, you know, drugstore or whatever, wherever you buy your straightening irons. There we go. But it's super handy for thread. I really like it. It's a tip that we learned last year at our bead retreat from bead retreater Alice. She was very clever and brought her hair straightener. But I found this little tiny one and it's perfect for that. Okay. So to tie the end tip on, and Sherry had a question here. She says that she has no faith in the end tips. Well, there's a couple of things. End tips have to be really put on very, very deliberately. Okay, and so one of the things that makes end tips fail is, here's my size 6 thread. Okay, we want to make sure that we're using the right size end tip for the right size thread. Here's a size 2 thread here. Okay, so it's a lot thinner than that 6. So if I were using a 2, let's say that I am using a bead that's super small, right? The whole side is small, and so I need to, whoops, sorry, I hit the camera. So I need to use a finer thread, and maybe I'd use this size, this little hook end tip rather than the clamshell. The knot that you're going to tie, and you want to get, you're pretty tight in here, Brandon, but the knot I want to tie is, I want to make a loop, and I'm going to go through once, and you've seen me do this before. I'm going to go through several times, once, twice, maybe 3 times, okay, and tighten it down. I'm going to leave it right there so you can see it. See how big, how bulky, I guess is what I want to say, that knot is, right? The bulkiness of that knot is because I looped through the threads, I looped the threads through the loop several times. If I had just done it once, like this, and then tried to tie another knot on top of it, like this, right? Though I'm pretty good at doing that. The knot will eventually, it's just like a little string of knots there, right? So it's not like one big bulky knot. So let me put that end tip on. And then you really want to test it, okay? Like, so much test it that it's not going to pull through. So what I do next is I come in with the cup, the little tip, the little hook coming down. See that there? You can see, it's a little hard to see. I would put my glue, my hypo cement glue right in there. And then I'd pull. See, I'm really pulling like I mean it here. That end tip is not going to bounce over that knot. Okay, so that little test on this end tip is real important. Okay, and you can, oh, get out of my head, Nivart. She says she's used a seed bead with the knot in the clamshell with a dab of glue. Exactly, I also have done that. And since the clamshell is kind of big, it holds a size 11 seed bead actually really, really well. So what you would do is, I'd tie my knot, and let's tie a bulky knot. Is there a little size 11 brand that you can grab from in there? I'm going to go through 3. And here's my big fat knot again. But you can also get a tiny little 11 like this, which is here. And you could put that on, just like so. Now, with the clamshell, and I'll get this right up there, Brand, so you can see it. See how I have, whoops, maybe you can see. Come on now. You can see the clamshell, the 11 knot, and the knot. Done and done. Okay. Then you just push this up. Add my glue. Let's pretend I've glued it. We add a little bit of our hypo cement. Well, there it is. Then we clip this away after 24 hours. I really let it sit. Really get that nice and bonded together, that knot. Then I get my clasp. If I have it, I had some here.
Right there.
Oh, I have this one. I'll try that. Though the loop is kind of small, but let's see.
I can grab something else if you need it.
Yeah, let's try it. To close that end tip, you guys, let me get my bent chain nose. There they are. Then I put my clasp on. Then when I close my loop, I close my loop first. So the very tip of that loop is just inside the cup. Okay. And if you guys are having trouble, as I said, with the Facebook stream, jump yourself right on over to YouTube. I think the YouTube stream over there is going strong. I made this knot with those 3 loops so big that it's actually too big to fit in that end tip. But you get the idea. I would close it up really, well, it's okay. It actually is closing up just fine. So the trick is to get that little tip of the end tip loop right into that clamshell, okay? And then close the clamshell over it. You want to make sure that there's enough room for your clamshell hook to rotate into your clasp, okay? Like this. That also, if it's tight on there, if you just come in and you do this, you go, oh, great, and you tighten it, like you clamp it down like that, your clasp is not going to be able to move, right? And it's going to wear down and open this up. So make sure that you get your loop nice and rounded. You can even round it up. I'm sorry if you guys are having trouble with the feed. Our signal here is super strong. Constantly monitoring. There we go. And that just closes up. So make sure that you've got that movement, you guys. That's what you want. Okay? So that's that. So that is that's the end tip. All right, so that's just a little primer on that guy there. So let me show you now let's get to the nitty-gritty of the bullion and the threads. But you need a little bit of a backstory for that. So here's the bullion. Okay. Here's the fine in the vintage bronze. Now it's really easy for you to kind of pull the bullion apart like this, right? It's really easy to do that. So you want to treat your bullion kind of with kid gloves. One of the things that I cut, first of all, cutting the bullion can be kind of an issue. So can you, Brendan, also grab me some soft flicks so we have that.
In particular?
Doesn't matter at all. You can use your cutters. You want to use really sharp, your really good, clean, sharp cutters. You could also use your thread snips for those as well. But you want to make sure that whatever you're cutting it with is super sharp, okay? If it's not super sharp, it's going to snag the end. Because remember, it's a super fine little coil. So what I do when I'm cutting my bullion for the ends is I cut one and then I cut two. And again, I'm handling it very carefully. I'm going to line it up and I'm going to cut them both the same length. Okay, can you see that? This is the fine. So let's see what thread that fits on. The fine fits on, I'm going to cut this end away. When you cut away your thread with needle, you always want to cut it at the end so that your needle is still attached up at the other end. And it's good to go. Yeah, I'm sorry you guys that are having YouTube issues. If it's not a YouTube issue, then it's a Facebook issue. Sorry about that. So, this is the fine. I'm going to put the fine on, and let's slide it over, okay? And I'm going to just slide it on, and see how that size 2 thread, it just slides right in there. It's perfect, okay? Let's try this size, this fine, on a size 4 thread. I know I have one here. A size 4. Here we go. And I did see a question about the putting the loop inside the clamshell before closing. I do. I put in just the very tip of the loop inside the clamshell before I close the shells up. Here's the fine and the size 4. Gentle, gentle. See how that makes that slides over just perfectly. Okay, let's go to the 6. Also, the loop, visually, you want the loop to be weighty enough for the threads you're using too, right? And also weighty enough for the clasp that you're using, so everything looks like it should be working together. Here's the size 6. See how I'm gently just coaxing it down the needle? Now when it gets to the thread, see it goes on, but I don't love it. Can you see how when I pulled it on, it's hard to see, but the thread started to pull the bullion apart right there. Just right there. So this bullion, too small. Too small. So size 6, let's move up to the medium. Scooch that aside. Let's cut a piece of medium bullion, shall we? Whoops, my thread just fell. Put my 4 over there. This is all going to end in a tangled mess any moment, you guys, right? So let me put this away.
I do wonder if the weathers have factor in some of the people.
I don't know. Could be.
Unfortunately.
Could be. There we go. So that gets put away. Let's put this, I know this size 2. Let's just, before it all ends. I know that, does your table, tell me your table looks like this too, you guys, right? I'm not by myself on this. I hope. Come on. There we go. Let's just, you can take the card and just rewind it on here. There we go. So it's, let's see, you guys. I'm sorry we're having so much trouble with our stream. Let's see. Any luck?